Commercial real estate prices are crashing. So if you're looking to buy some commercial real estate or maybe a mall, now might be a buying opportunity for you. But on the inverse, the cost of living is rising. We're seeing food prices rise twice as much as they did last year. So bad news for most consumers. If you're looking to buy a mall or commercial property, it might be good news for you. But let's get into the numbers here today. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. Thank you for joining me. Well, this economy continues to basically implode, and we're seeing a combination of different things happen with decreases in prices or deflation in commercial real estate, which we're going to talk about, rising consumer prices, which includes massive food price increases, and pretty much everything else you can think of except for business suits, which are dropping because of the office shutdowns and a lot of people working from home. But business suits and office apparel, prices of those have decreased, if that makes you feel any better about the rising cost of living. Bloomberg article right here: mall values plunge by 60% after reappraisals triggered by bad debt. So it's not just the average U.S. homeowner consumer that's over leveraged, it's also owners of commercial property. So just like you see lending in residential real estate, commercial real estate lending has also caused prices to go up much higher than they really should have. And now after the event like we've witnessed over the past year with massive store closures, well, you see things like this with mall values plunging 60%. That would be the definition of a collapse. Right? Could you imagine if residential real estate collapsed by 60%? That would be just a massive buying opportunity. Of course, they are keeping the residential real estate market propped up with many different programs, including foreclosure moratoriums and endless bank liquidity programs. All right, but regarding the mall values plunging, landlords are looking to walk away from many of these struggling retail locations, including malls. And about $4 billion in value is erased from the 118 anchored properties with commercial-backed mortgage securities. And this was triggered by a tsunami of loan delinquencies, of payment delinquencies, which also saw many foreclosures in commercial real estate and malls. And there are very few buyers willing to take the risk to scoop up many of these properties because e-commerce continues to grab a bigger and bigger portion of the market share. And analysts over at DBRS called this, quote, an eye-popping decline, unquote. Now one of the biggest property owners, Simon Property Group, are actually walking away from many money-losing locations. Now a lot of these hard-hit malls, remember if you look back, they were already being hit by many department store bankruptcy, right? The Searses, the Macy's, the JCPenney's, and so many stores are already closing. Right? Well, this adds pain on top of injury because so many of these property owners were already struggling. And as we reported earlier, only about half of the 1,100 indoor malls have a chance of survival. Now, Simon Property Group, the largest owners of malls in America, is working with loan representatives to try to restructure some of this debt. And here are some of the biggest losers of this commercial real estate decline. We have Simon Property Group losing $191 million, CBL and Associates $257 million, Kushner at $377 million, Pyramid Management Group $168 million. All right, now let's talk about the rising costs of living in specifically food prices. The price of food and gas is creeping higher and will stay that way for a while. So we've warned about this. We're going to continue to see rising prices even during a devastating economic situation with massive job losses. Right? Just the opposite of what a lot of people thought would happen. But what happens is when you have lower production and stimulus handed out to millions of people, people can still spend money, but less and less production, less food being grown. Let's talk about gas prices being thrown in here. We have the pipeline shutdown, and also rising gas and fuel prices trigger higher food prices because you have the delivery and the freight associated with getting the goods onto the shelves. and rising gas prices are only going to have a inflationary impact on food. And also with so many restaurants that have closed down either permanently or temporarily over the past year, well, that triggered a big surge into more people shopping at grocery stores and making food at home. Tens of millions of people now working at home. The Consumer Price Index for the month of January found that the cost of food eaten at home rose 3.7% from a year ago, and that was more than double of the 1.4% increase that we saw year over year the previous year. Now, the founder of supermarketguru.com, Phil Lempert, says, "Do not expect relief anytime soon. Quote, I think food prices are going to continue to increase for probably a good year and a year and a half," unquote. No, I think it's actually going to be much worse than that. I think there's no end in sight for the rising prices because we see production going down, farms getting hit, farmers going out of business, inflation everywhere, more people living paycheck to paycheck or stimulus check to stimulus check, unemployment check to unemployment check, and it's only going to continue to get worse. And what could possibly make this better? There's no solutions being discussed. Most people in the United States are dependent on some sort of payout or assistance. All right, printing money out of thin air is not going to get us out of this mess. We're going to see continually rising prices. We're going to have to print more and more. The stimulus checks are going to have to get bigger. The unemployment benefits are going to have to get bigger. The handouts are going to have to get bigger. Nothing is being discussed to solve this problem. This country is headed for the worst economic collapse imaginable, and it's going to be way worse than the Great Depression. Right? At least back then, more people did homesteading and farming, and people were more self-sufficient. People even got their own source of water in many cases. More people fished and hunted. Now, when the grocery shelves go bare or when food prices rise so much that most people can't afford them, people are going to be left out to dry, hung out to dry. But I guess it's okay as long as the stock market goes up, right? Right, we're going to continue to see food shortages. Food lines are going to increase. People lining up at these food banks for miles and miles and miles like we've reported on here. It's only going to get worse. There's nothing being discussed that's going to reverse the direction that we're headed in. And it's a very dark, it's a very scary direction for this country. Right? And most people have no clue on what is coming. Did everyone think that we were going to be able to live beyond our means forever and have one of the highest standard of living in the world? I think most of the population is going to start feeling the effects of this in the very near future. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. I don't know if it's going to be a bank failure. I don't know if it's going to be maybe some sort of glitch within the banking system that's going to bring every system to a freeze. And once the credit system freezes, then is when you really see the panic. Well, let's hope for the best, pray for the best, prepare for the worst, everybody. Let me know what you think about this. Rising food costs, commercial real estate collapse, most people dependent on handouts. What's going to change this? Does anyone have an answer? Like to know, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching and support. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.